Yes, good evening. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. It's Monday night. My name's Phil. Every Monday, we're here live, talk all things Leicester City with you with no script. It's whatever you want to talk about. Do you want to talk about the two pre-season friendlies we had last week, Shrewsbury and then Palmero? Or do you want to talk about the latest transfer rumours? Or I'm going to ask you, do you want to talk about this? Highest transfer income in the last 10 years. Yeah, Jason Bourne, former BBC Radio Leicester presenter and now of TalkSport, shared this earlier. The top 20 most income for clubs. Leicester City, we're there, look, fifth. We've earned the fifth amount from transfer incoming. So the question could be tonight is, where's the money gone? Where have we spent it? We've been one of the biggest earners in the past 10 years. What happened to all that money? Get your views in, get your comments in the next 20 minutes, and click on the link and join the show. Let's see what you want to talk about.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content, like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, and the Foxes, Arms and Rainbows. We are live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. As ever, we're live for the next half an hour, and you can follow us wherever you want to at Leicester Fan TV. Get us your views and your comments in. As ever, we'll get as many comments on screen as possible. And I have shared that link. If anybody does want to come on, click on there. If you're not too sweaty around here in Leicester, it's very hot tonight. Click on the link and give us your views if you want to. Good evening, Richie. Hope you're well. Nick, good evening. Get your views in, get your comments in. Kunal, hope you're well. Andreas, watching from Cyprus. Andreas, it feels like Cyprus here in Leicestershire tonight. It is super hot, so get your views in, get your comments in. I can already see Nick Moore has clicked on that link. Thanks, Nick. I'll get you in very shortly. If anybody else wants to click on the link, please do. Mark says, it's a proven striker we need, which isn't IU. Yeah, we've been linked with Crystal Palace's Jordan Ayew. Am I saying that? Ayew. Bit of a winger. I think, did he get 11 goals and assists last season? Mark doesn't rate him. Mark Langham, good evening to you. David Platts. Let's talk about, I'm afraid, Dave, nobody is going to get Danny Ward from us because nobody wants to pay 40 or 50 grand a week that he's on. Do they? I can't see it. Andreas says we need a striker and an attacking midfielder. Yeah, we certainly do need to replace Kelelechi Iheanacho. Has he actually signed for Seville? I know that that was the rumours this morning that he was going there, obviously on a free, not a Leicester player anymore. So we've let him go, bought him for 25 million and let him go for nothing. I mean, that sort of brings me onto this screen, as you can see there. This has come out over the last few hours, really. Leicester City, highest transfer income. This is English clubs across the last 10 seasons, as you can see there. Income coming in. And transfer income, that is. Leicester City are there in 5th place, ahead of many, many other teams. You could argue that's because we've had a great transfer policy, buying players cheap and selling them, but let me know what your views are on that. I'm going to get Nick in very, very shortly. Richie says, rumours about Jordan Ayew coming to Leicester City, as well as rumours about Reece Nelson coming to Leicester City, as well as rumours about there's rumours everywhere. I mean, there's rumours of players going out, a lot of rumours about Tom Cannon going. It felt like Enzo Maresca didn't really want to play him. Does it feel like Steve Cooper doesn't really want to play him? Matty, good evening. Hope you're well. Where are you this evening? Bubba, I know you're out there in the States. Good evening to you. Hope you're enjoying watching. Mark Gatwood says another Celtic midfielder, second best one they've got. The Odd Fish, apparently the Hammers have bid for Reece Nelson. you see Leicester linked with a lot of players, and the minute you see some other teams like West Ham in there, you do wonder where he's going to go. Patrick, yeah, another interesting topic. I myself, like you, Patrick. Patrick, did you renew the plastic card? 70% of the season ticket holders renewed using the card. Will the club listen or force the mobile app? Patrick, you can answer that, but I already hear you, Patrick, saying they'll force the mobile app. P.S. I did go on. I mean, they've forced us to raise a lot of money for charity, 250 grand, which is fantastic. So well done, you, me, everybody else who got forced to donate. Never been forced to donate before, but well done. I did log on and try to select. There was an option to go on the website and select which charity you would like some of the money to go to. I couldn't get it to work. Website said no. Did anybody else manage to, or is that just me? Let's get Nick in. Nick, good evening. Hope you're well. Nick, how are you?
I'm very well. A little bit warm after work today, but yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, it is a little bit warm out there, isn't it? But
Yeah.
Nick, lots and lots to talk about tonight. There is transfers. We were just talking there about the plastic card and charity. We're also talking about a striker and midfielder. What's the hot? Excuse the pun. What's your hot topic tonight?
Well, I think personally, for how much he's going to cost, I think IU's kind of a bit of a no-brainer with the financial position that we're in.
Yeah.
His stats last season were pretty decent for Palace, and let's be fair, Palace weren't exactly brilliant the first part of it because they had Roy Hodgson playing that way, didn't they? And then brought in the German, I can't think of his name now, but they started turning it. But it seems to be sensible. As regards to the biggest incoming transfers and all this lot that you were talking about earlier on about where's the money gone, we know where the money's gone. The money's gone on players like Ryan Bertrand, Oyosi Perez, a Sumari, a Danny Ward, players that barely played for us on stupid money. So that's where the money's gone.
I mean, I'm going to cover your beautiful face, Nick, just for a second. Apologies, It's how it's laid out. But yeah, for those of you who haven't seen that, Leicester are the 5th highest earners of transfer income over the last 10 seasons, Nick. I mean,
yeah.
In a way, it says we've had a good transfer policy, isn't it? Because we've sold players for a lot of money.
It was. I mean, I would argue 5 years ago we had a fantastic transfer policy. Let's be fair, I think clubs were copying us the way we did things when we were finding the hidden gems like Kante, Riyad Mahrez, etc. And they cost absolutely next to nothing in today's market, and we knocked them out on decent profit. The policy in recent seasons, I think we've overpaid for players. For certain players, anyway. When, like I say, I talk about players like Oyosi Perez. We paid £30 million for Oyosi Perez.
Nick, that's exactly what Michael is saying here. He says, "What about the players they gave away that cost us over 100 million?" Nick, if you were to list some of those players who we've let go for free, Kelechi Iheanacho today joining Seville and we cost us 25 million.
Youri Tielemans,
yeah,
we should have binned him off. Nacho, we've let Pratt. We paid did we pay for Pratt 20 million? Let him go for nothing.
I think about 15 million, yeah.
Yeah, decent amount of money. And when you think that all starts building up bit by bit, and as I say, it's just letting them go for nothing is criminal. And that's probably one of the reasons why we're in this mess the way we are in the first place.
Yeah, James says Slimani. We let him go for
Slimani.
Nothing. Soyuncu.
Yeah,
says
Soyuncu.
Yeah, as does Ian. Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, put in the comments who else we've let go. But like you say, we've already got to Kelechi Iheanacho 25, Tielemans 40, that's 65. Nacho.
He's about 25 mil thereabouts. Pratt. Nacho was. Pratt.
Yes. Silver.
Yeah. But, when you work it all out, it starts adding up.
I mean, Richie says Maddison, but we had to let him go. And I think we bought him for 20 and we sold him for 40. So there was a profit there, Richie.
Yeah, it was. But as I say, if anything, it was a good thing we let Maddison go when he did, because I'm still angry at Maddison for what he did last season in the Premiership anyway, because he didn't put a shift in, Phil. He was too busy worrying about his own things and rather than the team. So
Yeah, maybe. Nick Ball says here, I would guess that the majority of that transfer income has been raised in the last 5 or 6 years with the market inflated prices. You sell for 30 millions and 12 months later, the same standard player is 40 million plus. But Nick Ball, I think this is what me and Nick Moore are saying, is that we've let a lot of that high income, high cost players go for next to nothing.
I mean, you work out, for example, Ryan Bertrand, who was with us for a good couple of years, barely played. I don't even think he got into double digits games for the club. He was on a decent amount of money, and when you work out that what he was on, that soon adds up.
Yeah, wages. I think the wage bill is it £4 million a week or something at the moment for Leicester.
Stupid. Danny Ward. Why is Danny Ward on £50,000 a week?
Well, James Hill just says we need to get rid of Danny Ward. Nick, we're not going to get rid of Danny Ward.
Not on 50 grand a week. You won't. Not even Wrexham with their bankroll that they've got. They wouldn't take him on 50 grand a week. Nobody's that stupid apart from us.
I mean, is he our third choice keeper now because Stolicic is out for 6 months? Would you say he's third choice?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I like Stolicic, especially this season. I thought he did when he had to come in. I think he did really well. If anything, I'm kind of gutted for the lad that he's going to be out for a significant amount of time because he would have definitely been my, reserve keeper. But I'd even put Iverson above Ward in the pecking order. And there's rumours of him going to Derby.
Yeah, because I think somebody might. I think my take on that, Nick, is that nobody will touch Danny Ward with a barge pole because of his fees. I mean, Andy Medhurst has done some maths here, so I can't corroborate that Andy's maths is right. But he says Danny Ward has averaged over his period £533,000 per game. Andy, I can only take your word for that. That's right. But he's played, I believe, my stats in my head for Danny Ward are he's played, I think, 27 games for us
He's not done a lot.
Since 2016, and most of that was in the season we got relegated.
Yeah, because Rodgers was stupid enough to say he was a number one keeper when in reality he let a number one keeper go. The way he did, how much could Schmeichel go for? £1 million, I think it was. Yeah. Something stupid. I don't know. But I'm looking at the positive side of things, though, mate. I think we'll be all right this season. I honestly do. Even with the points deduction, I think we'll be fine.
Scott says here, I fear Ward will start against Spurs first game of the season. I wonder if we put him in the shop window. No, he won't. I agree.
He won't. It would be Hermansen. We've set how much we want for him, which is £40 million. If Chelsea not prepared to pay it, we ain't got to sell him. So he's our starting keeper.
Yeah. No, I agree. He has to be in there. Liam says here, we keep paying over the odds for unknown players rather than bringing through youth players, i.e. Alves, Nelson, Silko, Thomas, are players that should be brought through to the first team. I think they are now, Nick. A lot of these players
There is one person on that list, though. They are on the cusp, but there is one person on that list that he's just mentioned should be nowhere near the first team, and that's Luke Thomas. He needs a loan out in the Championship because look at what he did. He didn't exactly set the world alight at Sheffield United in the Premiership last season, did he?
Yeah. No, he
needs to get his confidence back.
Nor at Middlesbrough. Well, no. I thought he might suit Cooper's style maybe more as a backup of a backup. Nick, but let's another Nick here, or sorry, Mick Hewitt. Good evening, Mick. There's so many Nicks and Micks on tonight. Unless we get a creative midfielder and a new striker, we're going down. I think you said earlier along the lines that we need to replace Dewsbury Hall and we do need another striker. So you would agree with what Mick is saying, apart from the we're going down bit, I don't think.
I think we are very light in the striker side of things. If, Vardy, let's be fair, Vardy. He's the go. He'll get us some goals next season. He will. But he's the wrong age of 30. Daka, my feelings of Daka, and I'm sure you share many. There's only one person on Leicester Fan TV that thinks Daka's a goat and he's not here tonight. We do need a striker. It's obvious that Cannon's either not ready or just the manager doesn't fancy him, or I don't know. But we need something. That's why I said at least Ayo knows the league, and I'm sure he can play as a number 10 as well. He can play sort of anywhere along that sort of front line. So it's a no-brainer for how much they're quoting for it. I don't even think we're paying. I think it's a free transfer, isn't it, for Ayo? It's not a lot.
No, not a lot. Richie says here, get rid of Daka.
Who's going to take him?
Well, again, he's on big wages and he doesn't
Who's going
score
to take
goals.
him?
There was one moment against Shrewsbury, Nick, where Daka was, I'm not going to say he was clear through, but he was through. And he sort of tried to chip the keeper. And I was like, I really wanted him just to dink it over the keeper like he tried to. And then the Shrewsbury, like, they're not a great side. The keeper's not great, and no offence to them, but then just not the high standard. The keeper stretched his hand up and stopped it. And I'm like, oh, you can't even, that. And then up the other end, a bit later on, McAteer did put not quite the same chance in, but he stroked it in. And you just think Daka just doesn't have that either luck or golden touch. There's something, it just won't drop for him. It won't happen.
For me, Daka's only got one thing to his name, and that's pace. He's quick, but when the chips are down, he can score tap-ins, yes. But when the chips are down and it's one-on-one, he struggles. And is it a confidence thing with him? I don't know, but I expected more by now for how long he's been here, Phil.
Well, he's been here. Is this his 4th season or is this his 3rd season? It's just.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was getting rave reviews about him when we signed him because he played with Erling Haaland in Salzburg. They were brilliant together, this, that, and the other. And I think to myself, well, if he's that good, either the Austrian league is complete and utter Sunday league style.
Well, it's not a great league. Yeah, it's not a great league, is it? The Austrian league. It's just not a great league.
I don't know,
Mark says if Vardy won't make all games, Daka must go. Cannon doesn't get a chance. Ayew is not the answer. Ayew is another throw your money away signing, Nick.
Right. What I will say to that comment is, realistically, we're not on FIFA or Football Manager. The financial issues that we've got, who do you realistically bring in? And if anybody says Sammy Schmodix and things like that, they need their head testing.
Nathan says Tammy Abraham. Can't say it. Tammy Abraham has been mentioned once or twice. He has, but he'll want big money, won't he? And again,
exactly.
he's the sort of player that perhaps for me, Nick, perhaps we shouldn't be going after Tammy Abraham because he's been a bit of a journeyman and not quite settled at these clubs. And you think, is there a bit of a problem around Tammy Abraham?
Don't get me wrong, Tammy Abraham there's a player in there. We did see it early doors. There is a player in there, definitely. But, like you say, he's on big money. He is on big money. He's not going to be. He's not. Is he still at Roma? They're not going to be paying him small wages.
No. I mean, Paul Newbold says, "How many debates have we had about Daka? He should go." Paul, I would just say I think 18 months ago I called Daka and said in a video, I can go back and check. I've said it many, many times. He's not good enough. He just hasn't got a finisher's touch, and we've seen more than enough of him to let him go. Somebody I haven't seen enough of, Nick, is Cannon. But yet he doesn't seem to be getting again much, Vardy out, and it's like play Daka.
Yeah, well, I suppose though with the wedge that Daka's on, maybe that's an impact on it. Where you're looking at Vardy's out. Well, who do you play? Oh, you played the person that's earning the next best sort of money. From what I've seen of Cannon, I like Cannon. I think he's definitely got the potential. I mean, we should be giving him at least a run out in pre-season. But like you say, it's like almost as if Cooper doesn't fancy him. But let's be fair, Cooper sees him on the training pitch day in, day out, and we don't see that, do we?
I think Daka must train really, really well because Rodgers liked him. Enzo kept picking him as well. And
either that or he's got something on the managers. He's got some dirty pictures somewhere. Well, no, you never know. He might have Rudkin's number. You don't know. The part of the manager's perspective is they've got Billy Daka every week.
Wayne says here, what worst case, put Mavadidi in the middle. Again, he played there against on Friday night and did okay. Could that be a role for him in the Dewsbury Hall sort of number 10 role?
Why not? If give him a go. If this is what pre-season's all about, testing players in different positions. If you think you can play in that, you do your tactics and your fitness and stuff. I mean, let's be fair. On Jamie's show, people were getting some of the comments. They were getting their knickers in a right twist over the result against a Serie B side. But Palermo weren't that long ago. They were in Europe and doing well.
Yeah, they're a big. big-ish Italian side who shouldn't really
They're
be
like,
down in that. Yeah,
well, it's like how we was in the Championship last season. Is kind of that, but
yeah.
fair play to them. They turned up and did the business. But you know, it's pre-season. It doesn't matter until after the first 10 games. That's when you start to see whereabouts you're going to be when it evens itself out. Everybody again still worried about this points deduction malarkey. Oh, it's going to be 20 points. It's going to be. How can going into being what we've supposedly done be worse than going into administration?
Yeah,
Administration is 9 points. How can it be worse than that?
I would agree with you on that because going into administration is classed as the worst thing financially that any club can do. So you do think, how can they? But they did initially give Everton 10 points. Now, whether that's part of Everton's counter argument back, saying you can't give us more than administration.
This is where it doesn't add up. So I think it'll be 7. And I think if Cooper can get that mentality a bit like what Pearson had when we went up from the Championship the last time, we've definitely got the core there to scrap if needed. We really have. And if everybody rocks up at the King Power and gets behind them, that time it was rocking, weren't it?
Yeah.
So,
out in America, Boohoo Records and Rags. Nice to be watching us. Thank you, lads. Says Palermo. I keep calling them Palermo. Palermo are the equivalent of Italian Bournemouth. And let's be honest, Nick, if we were playing Bournemouth in a pre-season friendly, it certainly would be a tough match. They would fancy they should beat us.
They would, but again, Phil, I make the thing of pre-season means nothing. Manchester City lost 4-3 to Celtic, and then Celtic beat Chelsea 4-1.
I did enjoy watching the goals from that, Nick. I must admit, they look very similar to goals we were letting in last season.
Exactly, but what I'm trying to say is, Phil, if it's a Champions League and it's Celtic versus Manchester City, do you see Celtic smashing Manchester City? You don't. No. Come off of it.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree.
You don't read into it.
A couple of people have said sign Weghorst. I know Reedy in our office is saying sign him. He's a big striker.
He's your type of player.
Well, he offers something different, doesn't he, maybe?
He's like a bit like the Mitrovic type player or Stevie Howard, where a big lump if you're chasing the game in the last 20 minutes, stick somebody up. Route 1. Days of old. Why not? It's a plan B.
I just wondered, Nick, if Cannon was going to be that type of plan B player, because he's a bit more like a David Nugent or he's not your big number 9, but he's not a straightforward Jamie Vardy, is he, Cannon? But
he's a kind of a mix of the He's kind of a mix of the both. He's a weird like hybrid of Nugent and Vardy. But I do agree with like they said about get Weghorst. I think it's 1.5 million. Again, it's something else to. Yeah, exactly. It is a plan B because it's a different alternate to what you're sticking with. And let's be fair, if we were still under Enzo, Phil, he wouldn't be looking at players like a Weghorst or an Ayew and stuff like that. If anything, he'd just be loaning everything under the sun under Manchester City. Yeah.
Ryan says here, I think he's talking about Weghorst. He says he's very good at holding the ball up and bringing players into play. Andy says give Cannon a game. Rob says thought we were struggling for money. How can we sign everything that moves? We have got some money, Rob, because we've sold some players and we do get money for being in the Premier League. It's a case of just managing it.
I was reading something on Fox's talk, Phil, and I don't know if you saw it, but somebody made a fantastic point. We ain't actually technically broke like everybody's saying we are. And it's also a new financial year now. So technically, we can sign the players. But I think the club are being very careful just in case it does go wrong or we go down. And then, let's be fair, the Championship will have our pants down for financial fair play from last season, won't they?
Yeah. Got to be careful. Mark Gatwood says Weghorst would be better than Ayew. Rutter would be great. Yes, big money. Matt, thanks for watching, Matt. Says I'm the milkman for Steve Cooper. He told me he was signing Weghorst. Andy Downing saying great plan B in there. Nick, you are the postman, aren't you?
I am for reader.
Yeah. Is there nobody nobody, you're not postman for any of the players or anything like that. That'd be just great if you could see contracts going in. And I know postmen aren't allowed to look at stuff before you say anything.
The frame next to me that preps up does the Seagrave training ground. And my partner on Friday got very, very giddy because he had a special delivery that had to be there for 9 o'clock for Harry Suter. And he was dancing around like a schoolgirl. We were joking, taking the mickey out of him, saying he's going to get selfies and this, that, and the other, because he was a right giddy bugger for it.
Did he have to go and find Suter then to hand it over to him?
Yeah, because Suter's got to sign for it, because it's obviously that's what somebody's paid all that money for special delivery.
So if we send a special delivery for Jamie Vardy, does that mean your mate's got to go and get him to sign for it?
Technically, yeah.
Okay, I know what we're doing.
But you didn't hear that from me.
That's one way to get an interview done, isn't it? In there.
Yeah.
A little one before we go in here. Andy Downing says Cody as captain. I think this season, Nick, we do need to pick a captain. I think for me, Enzo said everybody's a captain and nobody's a captain. I am just old school, and I'm like, no, that person there is going to be captain, and he can either lead by example or he can lead by example and by rallying the troops. You know, Wes Morgan was captain and led by example, I would say. We've obviously seen other captains before. We go back to Steve Walsh and people like that, and Ali Mockland, and old school captains who you would leave your life on the pitch for because you dare not. But I go by
players of my life. Yeah, I go by players of my life in my lifetime, in my era, as I say, and players like you've just said, Walsher, Matty Elliott. You know, I think even Jerry Taggart at one point had the armband for a little bit. Those are like a centre back as captain. Wesley Morgan, you know, not only I think they can see the pitch better. They can see in front of them, and you know they're covering the goalkeeper. All this striker malarkey as captain, just I've never liked that. So if Cody's going to play, give it him, because he is a leader in the dressing room apparently. So why not get him on the pitch and lead the pitch?
Nick, I thought we'd bought Cody to be club captain. I think that was the plan, but yet he didn't play much other Enzo, did he?
Well, this is Enzo ball, isn't it? So if it came across sometimes, it was if your face fitted, you played. So we'll see.
I think a lot of people are saying get Cody as captain. It makes sense. Cody is a bit like Walshy. For me, it does. We hear he's a big character, like you've just said, Nick, in the dressing room and on the bus.
He's Walshy with a Scouse accent.
Yeah. Well, he was. Did you hear him, by the way? He was quite a lot on 5 Live for the Euros this year, Cody was.
I did kind of need subtitles a little bit because his accent's quite thick.
Yeah, Patrick says he spends more time on 5 Live. I think that's because he's quite engaging, Patrick, and speaks a good game. And I quite like Mark Gatwood just said here, Cody as captain, Winks as vice captain. I think
I'd go with that.
On there, Mark. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cody ain't there anymore, so yeah, give it Harry Winks as the vice.
And like you say, I've never thought Jamie Vardy's obviously leads by example and does what he does, but I never quite felt he was that captain material. And likewise, I always felt when Casper was captain, it's a long way to be barking orders That's why
I like it as a centre back, or that sort of defence side, or even a centre midfielder, somewhere that can see or communicate easier from the front to the back. It makes more sense.
Yeah, brilliant. So, Nick, thanks so much for jumping on tonight. A little bit of problem, but it's great to get your views on. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me, Phil.
I'll get that letter in the post to Mr. Vardy and see if you can get yourself up there to get him to sign for it.
If you do, I'll probably still be at the training ground by the next time I come on, because I'll be geeking out, meeting me heroes. So,
did you see, Nick, by the way, did you see the land all next to the Seagrave is for sale?
Why does that not surprise me?
I just thought, I wonder what we could do there. It made me laugh that some people said maybe Chelsea will buy that piece of land to just build a stand so that they can spot the next player they're going to sign.
Well, I said, because of this, I said this at work today. I've got a couple of Chelsea fans that work in the office, and I said to them, is there anybody else you want to buy? I said, you could give you Philbert Fox for 50 million, because they love being Leicester City. Yeah, Philbert Fox for 50 million. We'll sold the Birch for 200 mil if you want.
Oh, bless. Well, he did used to play there, Nick.
Exactly. That's it. He's under contract.
We need a new club ambassador, so let's get the Birch back.
200 mil.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, thanks, Nick. We'll see you.
Have a good one, mate.
Cheers, pal. Thanks so much to Nick for that. Yeah, that bit of land next to the King Power, we'd put a post out. What would you do if we were all to club together and buy it? What would you do? Because it's for sale. We could build a fan stand and just watch what's going on in training. Or maybe I like some things where people say maybe we'll build another water polo course and stuff like that. Patrick says extend the golf course. I know, it's so nice up there, isn't it? Paul says I bump into more ex-players where I live. Well, Paul, where do you live? You probably live up in Chester or somewhere, don't you, Paul? Let us know where you live in there. Andy says, good evening, Andy. Hope you're well. I think we should buy it and build a 360 watch tower that shoots lasers at incoming Chelsea scouts. Yeah, I see where you're going with that one in there. Thanks so much for all your views. Thank you, Richie, for that in there. Paul says he lives in Cobham. That's down south, isn't it, Paul? London? I'm not sure. My geography's not bad, but Cobham, it's down London, isn't it? Anyway, John's going to get the last pretty much quote. He says, get Weghorst in, a big plan B. If he's only 1.5 million, you sort of think, well, wages are not too bad. Be a decent sort of signing. He was obviously at Man U, Burnley, played a bit in the Euros. Listen, everybody, thanks so much for getting your comments in. Thanks for Nick for joining us. That was great to get his views in. Don't forget, join us live every Monday night, 7:30 till 8. Locks is live this Thursday at 6:30, and Jamie from the Fox's Arms in Alcudia will be live at 9:30 on Sunday morning as usual. Can't do this show without you guys, so thank you so much for everybody who's watched, dropped a comment in, and especially for Nick Moore for clicking in. If you want to click in and give us your video views, drop us a line or just click on one of the links. We'll see you next week. Cheers all.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, the Fox's Arms and Rainbows. Run by the fans, for the fans. Follow us on socials at Leicester Fan TV and visit leicesterfantv.com for all the latest news, views and videos.